Good evening, everyone. It is day 4 today. This morning and this afternoon was a little bit complicated. I'm sure if you guys seen my video from noon, you'll see that my demeanor had changed a little bit. Approximately 10:40 this morning, I woke up and I had started spotting. There was a fair amount of discharge that had left my body. It did not go through my clothes onto the bed, but it did make a mess of my clothes, unfortunately. It leaked through the bandages. I immediately got up, and there was a pressure there at the opening. It felt different than the normal pressures that I feel. I drew a hot bath and put the Epsom salt in it. Once again, like I explained in my last video, I sat on my knees and I put my buttocks cheeks on my heels, and I just put my hands on the front of the tub, and you do have to bear down a little. I passed the gel cap. It was extremely painful. I would not say it's equivalent to giving birth. Mind you, I never have, so I couldn't compare, but I would definitely say that it was the feeling as you're passing it, so as it's coming out of your body, would be equivalent to that of, if you cut yourself with a knife accidentally and it's deep enough that you'd need stitches. That immediate stinging pain, that's the pain you're going to feel, and you're going to feel that pain for the amount of time that you pass the caplet. So from the time the caplet is inside the rectum till the point it gets to the anus, and then to the point where it comes out. For me, I passed the caplet in probably 90 seconds. So I felt that pain for about 90 seconds. I did have to push twice. A small amount of blood did come out of the wound, and it did stretch the stitch line a little bit. But with that being said, it did not tear the stitch line. The bleeding subsided the minute I got out of the bathtub. So if you get out of the Epsom salt bath after passing the caplet and you continue to bleed for more than, let's say, 30 minutes, I would suggest that being a hospital visit. After I passed the caplet, I became very withdrawn. My body was fatigued. Psychologically, I could not function. I was in so much pain. I was on 4 extra strength Tylenol. So that's the 500 milligram red coating ones. I had 2 of them when I got up and went to the Epsom salt bath at 10. And just after 1 p.m., after I had posted the last video, I took 2 more and I laid down and I slept from 1 until around 9 o'clock. Or no, sorry, 5 o'clock this evening. I got up at 5 o'clock briefly. I might have had a cup of tea, and then I went back to bed and I slept all the way through until 9 p.m. It's now 11:19 in the p.m. and it is, sorry, bear with me here. It is January 30th still, obviously, because it's before 12. So that was passing the caplet. When I woke up at around 9ish, I had some rice with some chicken broth, which is going to add weight and kind of push whatever the remnants are that were left from the soft diet in my intestines and my bowel through, so we can start to get the process of, solid food going in there. They say to start eating solid food when you feel comfortable to do so. I am going to suggestively say there is a little bit of paranoia there. It is extremely scary after you pass the caplet, the thought of passing stool, because passing the caplet really, really hurt. I will give you an update once I pass stool. I haven't passed any yet because of my soft diet. It has been mostly like a watery blood substance. Now, when I say watery blood, you should not be bleeding per se. This is like if you got a cut at the pool and you put a Band-Aid on and you continue to swim, and when you got home, you take the Band-Aid off and you see it's like a very light pink color on the Band-Aid, like the blood's been watered right down. That should come out during the Epsom salt bath. Once you've gotten out of the bath for 30 minutes, that should not run out of your body. It might It might leak out and be on your skin, but it should not drip out like blood dripping out. If that happens, I would suggest returning to your physician's office or informing your surgeon. Other than that, try to change your underwear 3 to 5 times a day. And if you're using like pads or bandages, you need to keep those changed regularly. You cannot, keep the same pad on. If it has blood on it, it's going to cause infection. It's going to make it very itchy. It's going to pull. It's just not a comfortable feeling. And trying to keep the area as clean as possible is probably in your best benefit. It got pretty rough when I woke up, because I'd slept for more than a 4-hour increment. All of the Tylenol had worn off. So at 9 o'clock, I was extremely irritable. I had to separate myself from my other family members for approximately 2 hours, just because, I'm irritable. Psychologically, I can't function. I can't focus. So, this, like I said, it's not impossible. It's not hard, but it's not easy. This is going to test your willpower and your ability to bite your tongue. Right now, I would say between a 1 and 10, my pain is between a 6 and 8, which the other day we were suggesting between a 2 and 6. The stitch line the skin has started to grow over the stitch line on the one side, so I can only see the stitch line on the right side and not on the left. And because of that tension where the skin has grown over the stitch line, when the stitch flexes, it's pulling through the new skin, which is kind of creating a little bit more pain than normal. If you elected not to take the opiates, I would definitely at this point, if you've passed the gel cap, double up on the Tylenols. So take 2 extra strength Tylenol, 500 milligrams. That would be 1,000 mgs per dose. And like I said, just try to be reasonable. Don't push yourself too hard. You need to give yourself time to heal. Like I said before, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. It is going to take several days. It could even take a couple of weeks. So to be 100%. With that being said, tomorrow I'm going to try and venture out a little bit, maybe go for a drive, because we're coming up on a week now since the 27th. I'm really starting to get like cabin feverish, being in the house too long, not really having any social time. It's, when you're in pain, you don't really want to sit around, talk to people. It's just one of those things. With that being said, day 4, I would say is an minus the fact that the pain has gone up a little bit, just because now the healing process has begun. The mobility of it is actually gone up. So where the pain level has gone up, the mobility has gone up too. I'm able to move around more. Getting in and out of the truck is easier. Walking up and down the stairs has become easier. Going up the stairs always felt easier. It didn't hurt as much as going down. I find that when you're walking downstairs, what most people don't comprehend is they use all of the muscles that are inside of their bum to do a lot of things, to crouch, to stand, to bend, to pick up things, to go up and down stairs, to do anything. You're using those muscles, and when they're injured, you feel it. So that is one thing I would say is, a little bit harsh and intense on the body, especially that's where the incision site is, so it's raw. Other than that, I don't really have much else to add on to what happened from this morning. You can clearly see my demeanor now. I'm calm. I'm somewhat energetic, but I'm calm. I've had something to eat. I'm gonna go have an Epsom salt bath soon. I would say passing the gel cap, if you had one inserted, is going to be the hardest part. And it's not impossible, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to test your pain tolerance and your willpower, but it is part of the healing process. And fortunately, for those of us that have to do this surgery, one time. You only have to pass it one time. I'm thinking that tomorrow I'm probably going to end up using the washroom. I'm hoping that I am. If not, I'm going to have to return back to the doctor, because we're now going into the 4th day. So You know, after 4 days, it's written right on the documentation that if you haven't passed a stool, you should return and see your doctor. Other than that, you know, I'll shoot an update out tomorrow for if I do pass a stool. I would suggest after the 3rd day, walking. The doctor and the surgeon made it very clear to me, you gotta walk around. Even if it's a little bit, it's better than nothing. Sleeping on the couch most days to kind of avoid some of the pain tolerance is what I've been doing, which isn't really in my benefit, but you know, don't push your body more than what it can do. Other than that though, I mean, it kind of grows on you. You get used to the feeling. It constantly feels like there's an urgency, like I have to poo. And I know that's the stitch line moving in the flesh. So it kind of makes you like grumpy, moody. If you can't facilitate that change in character, then maybe sleep is better. But still, try to do as much walking as you can inside your house if you can't go out. The other thing is try to keep the area warm. So where I've heard a lot of people say Epsom salts is your best friend, an Epsom salt bath, I'm actually going to recant on that statement from the last 2 videos. The Epsom salt bath does help while you're inside the bath. But once you get out of that bath, you are in a different world. The stitch line is going to tighten, it is going to add tension and pain. I found actually a better way, a better substitute for this. So a hot water bottle or the seat heaters in the car, or I got these things from the dollar store. They're for your gloves and your shoes. It's like a heating pad. And it's a one-time use. It heats up for about 6 hours. So I took this and I wrapped it in a pillowcase and I sat it on the couch and I sat on it, and it actually does the same thing that the seat heater does. I think in a way it's the moisture is what's causing the pain with the stitch line. So having the natural heat with no water actually makes it much easier to, you know, adjust. When I get out of the truck and I walk inside, the stitch line tightens a little bit between the truck and the front door of the house. Once I'm inside and the heat goes back around and my body's warm, then the stitch line just feels like it always does. So I think that instead of going to Epsom salt baths immediately, like you need those, don't not do them. But if you're trying to mitigate pain, instead of having like 50 of these baths a day, try having one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and in between those increments, when you feel like you need that heat, you need another one, just take one of those pads, they're about yay big, and you peel the sticker off and stick it inside of something thin, a sheet, or I used a pillowcase, and I folded the pillowcase in half, quartered, and then multi-quartered, put the pad in, and then folded it again. So there's about 4 layers of material on either side. They do get very warm, much warmer than a heat or a seat heater in a car. And you could burn yourself if you're not careful. I would not suggest sticking these straight on the skin, as you will end up with burns on your skin. Other than that, the heat will manage that pain, and it will kind of take away the tension and the itchiness and stuff momentarily. So if you sit on the couch for 4 or 5 hours and that's up against your body, then it will kind of mitigate that feeling for the time that it's there. Once you take that heat away, you are going to be back to the same feeling you were before you put it on. I think that's going to be it for tonight. I am really withdrawn this evening. My body's sore. I have this urgency today, this constant urgency, like I have to poo. I think it's the stitch line is growing over, or the skin is growing over the stitch line, which is causing that added itchiness. It is part of the healing process. It's something that, you know, you're going to have to put up with for 2 or 3 days. With that being said, I did look at the wound earlier this evening, and I noticed, or it looks to me like only the one stitch line is there, because the stitch line on this side, I normally sit, as you can tell, on my left side because I'm right-handed. So I'm trying to relieve the pressure off the right side and just balance myself on my left. That the skin has grown faster over that part of the stitch line. And that's kind of where I get that feeling from, like it's not tearing, but like I have to go to the bathroom. That's just something your body's creating. I think it's more so that feeling of the stitch line kind of mimics the same feeling as that urgency. It should go away after time. Other than that, you know, like I said, hydration, lots of fluids. 4 liters of water is good. You know, I have the 1 liter water bottle like I showed you guys the other day. Drink 2 or 3 of those in a 1-day sitting. It's gonna be better for you. Above all, remember time. Don't rush this. If you rush this, it's gonna be more painful. You know, you just gotta take your time and understand that you're a human being, not a robot. You know, I wanted to rush this. I wanted to just get it over with and get through it. That's not the case. It's not how it works. You know, it's been a long 4 days, and I'm sure it'll be another long 4 or 5 days before I get to a point where I can do my normal activities and facilitate myself like I normally would. Maybe even longer, because of the fact that I'm smoking and, you know, I'm not following the strictest of the diet. They said that there should be lots of fiber, not to use supplements, so natural fibers, cereals, bran, stuff like that. Yeah, other than that, I mean, we'll wait around and see what happens tomorrow. If I end up passing a stool, then I will make a video like I did when I passed the tablet, directly after I passed the stool, so those of you that are nervous or worried can see exactly what to expect. Like I said, if you watch video 2, part 2, versus the intermission of 3, so the third video, which isn't really part 3, but it's the passing of the pellet, you'll be able to see the difference in demeanor between how much pain I was in the night before versus when I got up and passed the pellet. Bear in mind that that was an hour and 20 minutes after when I made the video. So I passed the pellet at 10:40, and I didn't make the video, or sorry, the capsule. So when we say pellet, gel cap, capsule, the seafoam cap that is inside to kind of separate so there's no infection. You can see my demeanor between video 2 and video 3. On video 3, I was in a lot of pain. I would say that at that point I was a 9 or a 10. That lasted for approximately 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and once I passed out, you don't notice the pain. When I woke up, I immediately took the 2 Tylenol, and 20 minutes after I got out of bed, I was back down to a 5 or a 6. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's giving birth, but only time will tell. Let's wait for tomorrow and see what that brings. Once again, if you guys enjoy the videos and they're helping you get through the process of the experience you're experiencing, that was my aim. Just kind of to give me a heads up. I'm not looking for any recognition or trying to like boost my points or whatever. I don't know. YouTube's the easiest way to post this stuff so you guys can see. I'm not like a YouTuber. With that being said, hit the like and subscribe button. That way it's telling me, I know that someone watched it and it helped them. If you open this video and you start watching it and you're like, meh, this isn't my problem, like you're not having the same situation, please don't hit the like and subscribe button, because I can see how many people view the video without that. Why I'm asking you guys to like it or subscribe is simply so I can see how many people this information helped. That's what I want to know, is how many people watch this video that are experiencing what I'm experiencing and it helped them to overcome a fear or an emotion that they had or something. With that being said, in all of these videos, from the very first one to the very last one, I say it in every video at the end, there will be nothing inappropriate displayed in these videos via video or image. This is a medical discussion, and it's kind of like medical information to help other people understand the process and what they're going to be feeling and what to expect to experience. Hopefully to remove some of that paranoia, some of that fear, and just allow them to, at the very beginning, I was very scared. I was very emotionally withdrawn. And now I'm kind of sitting there going, I really worked myself up a lot for nothing. And if there would have been more videos like this that I could have watched, then, you know, it probably would have made me feel better. This is allowing you to see the experience in full. So also bear in mind, I've spoken to a couple other people that had this condition. From what I've been told, the pain actually is a little bit different in ratio when you compare male to female. So a female that is having this done within her rectum will probably have more pain because they have a vagina as well, which is inside. Where with a male, to have this done inside the rectum is going to be a little bit less pain, but more irritability. With that being said, if you're a girl watching this video, I'm hoping that it helps you. Some of the situations that I've come across might be different compared to your situations. Due to the internal structure of your body, you might not actually require a gel cap. You might actually get flat bandages that are put inside that I didn't receive. So there are different, you know, procedures. This is a hemorrhoidectomy via scalpel. So it was not via laser or via like the quick noose. It was actually, they took a knife, they opened the sidewall of the anus and peeled it back, exposing the vein and nerve. They trimmed it and stitched it. They covered it back over, stitched it up, which went to the outside of the opening on either side, and that was the procedure. There was no, and then the gel cap was inserted, of course. There was no covering, there was no flash tape like that plasticky skin stuff they put inside. Nothing like that was added to mine. From what I've heard, that internal bandage they use is normally for a female, and it's normally for a vaginal hemorrhoid that would be removed, not an anal one. They do use them, I believe, on anal hemorrhoids as well, but I believe it's for female and not male. So if you are a female and you're having this done, unfortunately, like I said, I hope my video helps you to some degree to understand, you know, what the process is and what you're going to be feeling. But it might be better to find a female that is doing the same thing that I'm doing to kind of understand, you know, with the change in anatomy, you also change the pain, the tolerance, the feeling, and everything else. So that is also something to bear in mind when watching these videos. Once again, I appreciate your guys' time. Hope this video is, you know, helpful, and have a lovely night, guys. It's the 30th of January, 2020. This is day 4 today. We're on day 4. Have a good one.